He kōna e purangi tēnei nā te reo irirangi o Aotearoa.
I mean, we are futurists. I mean, this is for the...
Ooh, I think I'm dressed appropriately for this. So what's hanging in the corner there?
So this is smoke caciocavallo. It's not smoked yet, but it's drying.
Imagine leaving the familiar kitchens of your home country, Italy, and settling in beautiful Aotearoa. You love the landscape, you love the people, but you find yourself missing a particular flavour from home.
We pack ricotta, stracchino. Here you have a mix of things that are already packed and they are just drying.
What began as a simple craving for Italian cheese turned into an obsession and finally a thriving small enterprise for Flavia and Flavio Spena.
This one is the production area.
Okay.
We make, with that machine, we close these pots that are bocconcini, little mozzarella, or mozzarella that are bigger balls.
I'm Kadamri Raghukumar, and today on Here Now, I'm being shown through the modest cheese factory of Via Vio to see how Flavia and Flavio translated their love for traditional Italian cheese into a successful artisan cheese business from scratch in Nelson. They'd been visiting New Zealand for many years until they decided to move here in 2017 and saw a gap in the market, along with, of course, a craving for a taste from home.
We come from the center south of Italy, where the fresh cheese, like mozzarella, ricotta, or other cheese that are quite common. We use almost every day. We were surprised because the quality of the milk here is quite high, and but there is no good quality cheese, just industrial stuff with a lot of preservative. So we say, if you're thinking to come here to do something, maybe better if we start to do something we can eat.
Something they could eat. Almost every great business starts with a need. And in the case of Flavio and Flavia, it involved making some serious career shifts. Flavio's a former rugby player and his connection to New Zealand goes back a long way.
In 1993, I played in rugby in Christchurch, and I played with Marlborough in 1996. So that was...
you have a long connection with New Zealand and rugby.
Yeah, it was... Yeah, because in Italy in the 1890, a lot players from the South Hemisphere come to play rugby in Italy, and especially from New Zealand. And I was lucky because in that time the economy in Italy is running well. All the companies have a lot of money to invest in sports. And in that time I played with the Benetton rugby. It's a part of the group of Benetton group, and we have in that time the family invests a lot of money in rugby. So good players from overseas come to play in Italy. Yeah, Zinzenbrook, John Kirwan, a lot.
And Flavia's past is also something as far removed from cheesemaking as Flavio's.
I was a top executive in Bulgari, the jewelry company. I was the CFO of the company, head of HR, so I did that for 25 years.
Wow.
So and he was an accountant as well. He's in family business. So very, very different. But we always had the passion for traveling and food. So we grew up with the food. Our families, mothers were traditional mothers where we were in the kitchen looking what they were doing. So the food is something that Italians have in the blood. We know, what is good and what is not.
And what they found was good was New Zealand milk.
So we went around New Zealand and tried to check for a place. We brought two cheese experts from Italy to check the milk and things. And then we decided to come and stay in Nelson because it's a great place, great weather, not always, but usually. And there is a very nice farm here that makes good A2 milk.
So you only use A2?
We only use A2 milk.
And why is that?
Mainly because we found this farm that had very good quality milk, and is a family business again, and we thought it was nice. I mean, when you made this kind of cheese that is handmade, you need to know the source of the milk, because the milk change during the year because of the grass, the season, the lactation phase. So you need to have quite a good relationship with the farmer and knowing if something is happening, because it can really influence a lot the way you make cheese.
And change the consistency of the product.
Yeah, exactly. So according to the difference, the content of fat or proteins, you have to adjust the culture, the temperature, the cut, and everything.
Sure.
So it was very important to develop this relationship, and we found all of this in Nelson.
Making artisan cheese in a country where there's really no dearth of cheese brands or large players in a dairy-based economy is taking on a challenge, and even more so when you're sticklers for tradition.
I'm very attached to traditional Italian cheese. In Italy, there are more than 1,000, 2,000 different types of cheese, very different. So we grow, knowing the difference and things. So when we come here, the majority of people, they buy Tasty or Colby. It's not even cheese. The cheese, if it's not round, it's not cheese. When you have it in block, and this block never make the mold, the cheese should make the mold. Here they say, they called us, there is mold on the cheese.
Flavia says there are some big differences in food culture between Italy and New Zealand, and making cheese really seems to have highlighted that for them.
Once I was talking to a guy from a competition, University of the Food Award, and they say, how do you do with the award in Italy on the food? I say, we don't have awards for the food. I say, how can how can the people know if it's a good or not? They try. If they like, they will buy again. Otherwise, they don't. That's how you do it. But it starts from a sort of, I wouldn't say confidence in knowing, how the food should be. And while here, everything is new. It's a new country, very young, and so people rely on expert. They, more than relying on their knowledge.
In the factory, it's a quiet day. It's Friday, so there's no production going on, but there's cheese as far as the eye can see. A lot of mozzarella.
This one that you see in these pots, and then we put it in the cardboard, is the most popular cheese in Italy is the stretch cord. This is called stretch card cheese because when they make the card and then they eat it and they stretch it, and when it's stretched, they make the balls. Now we make the balls with the mold, but the name mozzarella means mozzare, cuts by hand. So it means that they do it. They cut by hand these balls and they put it into, cold water.
Flavia knows her mozzarella. She's from Naples, after all, where the cheese is said to have originated.
So I remember my grandmother, but actually we grew up like this. Mozzarella should be eaten fresh, just made, not even put it in the fridge. Because you put it in the fridge, the temperature, the drop of temperature changes the texture of the fat. So you don't put it in the fridge, you eat it. If you are not able to eat it the same day, then you put it on the fridge and it's good for cooking. You don't even eat it fresh anymore. So the cheese is something that you have to eat it, in a short term. You don't put it in a fridge for a month.
And here's one of my favorites. It takes pride of place here.
So this is one of the cheese that we make. This is ricotta, the real ricotta, not the one that you find in the supermarket. It's very an offense to call it ricotta. It's a sort of spread. So this one, ricotta means recooked, cooked twice. When you go to the supermarket and look at this sort of spread, and you look, there is cream in it or preservative, and it's spreadable. Ricotta is not spreadable.
So that's sacrilege for you.
Oh my God! When I say, you still have some people coming in the market when they try, they say, "But this is not ricotta." I say, "No, this is ricotta."
Selling at the local markets here in Nelson and the regions every Saturday is now more than just sales for them. It's also a chance to educate buyers and advocate for locally made food products. And that's because one of the biggest differences they've noticed between Italy and New Zealand is in the information around traceability and provenance of ingredients that go into products.
So while in Europe, of course, there is a very strict regulation, you have to write everything that is in it and where it's coming from. And there is also a symbol that is a tracking that say exactly which kind of production, facility has produced that product.
Oh,
But
wow.
here, no. Local and imported ingredients.
That could mean anything.
They could mean anything. It can be milk from Chernobyl. I mean, it shouldn't be allowed. So we actually, a lot of our education is also in let the people understand it, that they should buy New Zealand product because the quality of the raw material is fantastic, but also they know where they are coming from. I mean, they don't know which kind of product are coming from overseas, and it's very important. Or at least if you want to buy from overseas, because there are good products coming from. Look at the ingredients. I mean, sometimes even when we are in Italy and we buy extra virgin olive oil, we actually look at the label to make sure that the olives are coming from Italy, because sometimes they're coming from all over.
Because the reason
So
why
you should do it.
we are looking, because even in olive oil, there is a lot of fraud. They mix olive oil with a different oil so if you don't know where the oil come from, you can get something is not real olive oil or 100%. So so the food industry in New Zealand, the food market is in the way is growing. Is in terms of the people to understanding. Of course, take time.
Over the last few years, their cheese varieties have scooped up several producers' awards, but that's not what they're in this for, despite some big challenges as a small business.
The idea is to do first good product. We don't use any preservative. We try to maintain all the product much natural as possible, and that was the target. Of course, to have some recognition of the prize and things make proud, but we know that this type of business is quite tough. Considering the first time I came in New Zealand was 30 years ago and even more, and New Zealand grows so much. To create tradition, you need established business longer. Of course, here a lot of things cost a lot to do. Making cheese for us is very expensive. We come from a country where there is a lot big tradition in food. We do the effort to transfer here, and that is the biggest challenge.
My name is Kadambari Raghukumar, and today's episode of the Here Now podcast was mixed by Daniel Hurley. You can catch more episodes of the podcast on all your favourite podcast platforms, and you'll also find us on the RNZ website.